always the four directions. Actually, this is the eight. This has all eight. With the central, most important sacred center, and everything in the center radiates out. There's the other four directions, just exactly like a hypocephalus. It begins in the point, and then it expands in concentric circles. You can see the various compartments, the various circles. Well, this is the theme of the hypocephalus also. They are a combination of heaven and earth. We believe that the gospel is cosmological. We believe there are other life out there in the cosmos. We don't know who they are. We don't have anything to do with them at this point. It doesn't concern us, so it's okay. But we believe they're all God's creation, of course. Now, this particular one is a really interesting one because, well, oh crying, I can't find it now. I'll tell you about it. This is really a weird image that the Egyptologists have been trying to figure out why. What is this? You notice the stars, and you notice the suns, or the moons, and there's little lines. There's three little lines going to each one of these guys. This is a heavenly influence. There is a power coming from heaven to the earthlings. And this is how the Egyptians depicted it. It's from a higher source to a lower source, and it's connecting it all like a ladder. And this is exactly how Joseph Smith described the hypocephalus. He said the 15 governing planets. Things are nearer to Kolob. It affects time, it affects space, it affects earth, it affects heaven. There's all a vast cosmological relationship. The Egyptians understood that also, and this was one of their depictions of the relationship of the cosmos to the earth. It does affect us. After all, we have tides on earth, right? You ever been to the ocean? When the tide washes you out, you almost drown like I used to? Yeah. I wasn't half that smart as I should have been. There's about 100 different hypocephalus. On the rim of about 50 of these, the wording is a prayer. And I won't get into all the various translations. I'm going to make some DVDs where I'm going to explain all of this out in detail. And if you're interested in that, come to my Backyard Professor site and I'll bore you to death with those. I'll get them to you eventually. Half of the hypocephali are a prayer to the deity asking for protection, health, help from being killed, so on and so forth. And the other half of the rims are an answer to that prayer. And this is the one that has an answer to the prayer. You start up here at the top and you read it through if you can read hieroglyphics. I can't, but some of the LDS guys can. Here is Joseph Smith. And what I've done is I made all the hieroglyphs that's in the rim, and I drew them all out and put them all out on the outside of the rim. And then Michael Dennis Rhodes' translation is down here. I'll show you here, and it says, I am the provider of the Sun Temple in Heliopolis. I am most exalted and very glorious. See, he's getting ready to go. Facsimile number 3. I am a virile bull without equal. I am that mighty God in the Sun Temple in Heliopolis. Heliopolis was the sun city. May the Osiris Shishak live forever with that mighty God in Heliopolis. This is the answer to the prayer. The prayer is, am I going to make it? To use our theological understanding so that I can help you make sense of this, our prayer would say, am I going to make it to the celestial kingdom with the Lord? And the answer to the prayer is, you betcha. That's the hope of the gospel. That's what gives us the reason to believe. because of that hope. That's the theme of the hypocephalus. That's the theme of the facsimiles. They are to give us hope. The Egyptians really did believe in eternal life. Abraham said in his first chapter in the book of Abraham, he said Pharaoh was a righteous man. And he lived by the principles of justice and truth, but he was imitating the true order because he didn't have it. But that didn't make him evil. He was a good man. And that's how the Egyptians lived their lives. They just didn't have the gospel, but they were good people. Abraham comes along and gives them the gospel because he's commanded to. What is he doing in facsimile number 3? You remember what the description says?
Teaching Pharaoh.
Huh?
Was he teaching Pharaoh?
He was teaching Pharaoh astronomy. Genesis describes the vision Abraham had. And it was so overwhelming because there were tens of billions of stars. Our book of Abraham and book of Moses even expands that out and says, it was so grand and glorious that the Lord told Abraham and Moses, endless is my name. It is so vast that that's my name. That's what I am. I am endless. It is non-ending. You can't comprehend that. That's electrifying. I have a challenge for you. Take the time as you can and just read, get one of the simple books. Read about infinity. Just so that you can get a feel for what they're saying about infinity. It's magnificent. It's like Brigham Young said, all mathematics, all philosophy, all theology, all geology, every good and true subject belongs to Mormonism. We believe in the eternal capacity of man to learn, and we embrace knowledge and truth. So that's what I want you to start doing. There's 5,000 pages of stuff just on our 60-page Purgatory Prize that I want you guys to start looking into. That's my challenge for you. It's irrelevant how long it takes you. This isn't a race. You want to learn about the eternities, there's no better book than the Purgatory Prize to do that. And he taught him astronomy of all things, because that brought the cosmological aspect to it. That enlarges, as Brigham Young said, he said, it enlarges the soul. Because I have news for you. Every one of us, no exceptions, you, all of us are going to die. And I mean dead. None of us are getting out of this one alive. As Hubie Brown, I love how he says it. He said, well, I hope you have fun, because none of us are getting out of this one alive. And you're not going to take anything with you. Not even the clothes you have on tonight. You don't get to take any of your money. You don't get to take your sports cars. I promise you are not riding the Harley to heaven. You ain't going to do it. Not a hat. Nobody takes anything with them except the eternal part here and here. That's why the Hebrews and the Egyptians emphasized the mind and the heart, because that is the eternal part of man, and Joseph Smith taught that doctrine. This is the theme of the facsimiles. Oh. Yeah. Let me show you this. Now, Egyptologically, they said Joseph Smith drew this completely wrong. It's a two-headed figure, and he should have had a four-headed figure. This is called the Walter Nash hypocephaly. It was found, about 75, 80 years ago, I think.